do when the content that you have promised seems to be completely undeliverable? Do you pretend that nothing's happened, or do you make something happen and get the content that you promised to your audience out to your audience? Well, this is something that happened to me yesterday during my show, The Business Breakout, where I do a live virtual event inside of Zoom so you can see how I do things behind the scenes for a live virtual event. And I always promise people things will happen and you're going to see things break down on my events so they don't break down on yours. But I knew that I had to get this content out because not only had I promised it as part of my intro, it was also something that was very special to me. It's a very special interview that I did with a very special person who happens to be my aunt. She is an amazing vocalist and singer that has inspired people all over the world. And I was so excited to get this interview to you. So, without further ado, please welcome my very special, my very wonderful Aunty Go Go.
Won't you help me get off this merry-go-round? Help me get home. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
That was just a little sneak peek. You can go and search her and find her music on some of the places on iTunes. I know she's there, but I want you to hear this interview that I had with her. And I'm so glad that I had decided to record her before the show because the guests are normally live, but I made a plan to have a backup for the just in case. And I'm so glad that I did. So please listen to and enjoy this interview with my Aunty Go Go and her incredible life story. So, my first question for you is how did you get started in music? What was that story?
Well, in the first place, my mom and dad said, we're going to move to California. And the only reason why my father wanted to move was so that his daughters, just my older sister and me, could get into the music business. And I remember I was in high school, and I was at a high school dance. And there was a guy playing in the band. His name was, they called him Sylvester Stewart then. And it just happened to be Sly Stone. And so my girlfriend said, she can sing. And so we got up, he said, well, come up here and sing then. So I got up on the stage and sang, Gee Whiz, look at his eyes. And from then on, he started taking me around the Bay Area and to the sock hops that they played at every weekend. And I was on the show. And the next thing I knew, he put a record on me, and it just started from there.
Wait a minute. So Grandpa moved you guys. I did not know Grandpa moved you guys to California specifically to get you all in the music industry.
Well, my mom wanted to move because her mother was here, my grandmother. And my dad said that the only reason why he was doing it was so we could get into the music business. But he didn't want to move because my grandmother was here, because he wanted to stay there in Texas because he had a really good job working with Bill Williams' Chicken House. He wanted my dad to open up a chicken place here in California, and it would have been very similar to Kentucky Fried Chicken, but my dad was afraid to. But he said he would do it anyway. because my mom's mother was here, and it was a mix-up story. It's really mixed up, but it got us here.
Yeah. Wow. I
Ready?
never realized that because I mean everybody in the family does sing. And
Mm-hmm.
from what I remember, well, first I used to think that you were the only one that had done anything professionally until
No,
mom passed away and I found record of Auntie Betty like touring with was it who was it that she toured with? Because I found pictures. It was
the
like Earth, Wind,
Commodores.
and Fire or something.
Commodores.
The Commodores. It's
Mm-hmm.
crazy. I had no idea.
They used to sing one song on the show, was called "Jesus is Love," and they travel. I just found out how many. She said they hit 96 cities
That's
uh,
insane.
back, and I didn't know that until recently. I knew she sang with the Commodores, but I didn't know that she was going. She probably traveled more places than I did.
Well, she told me they toured for an entire year. I did not. That's so insane. So,
Yeah.
okay, so you guys moved to California to be in the music industry. How old were you when that happened?
Well, when we moved, I was 14, and when I met Sly Stone, I was 17.
Okay, so you moved to
17. Yeah.
California, you meet Sly Stone, you work with him for a while, and then here's the thing, you guys. She sang with she sang with a whole lot of people, but specifically at one point you met somebody really influential who passed away recently. Who was that?
Barry White.
Oh, not Barry White. The other person. We're
Oh,
gonna get to Barry. We're gonna get to Barry.
well, I met Barry White before. Then I
Oh,
met,
really?
then I met Mary Wilson.
Oh my
Is
God.
that-
Okay. This
And
timeline.
then, yeah, while I was waiting, I didn't know my record was being promoted in Europe, and so I was just kind of waiting around, and I met Mary Wilson during the time, but I had already recorded the album with Barry White, and
Wow.
yeah, so
Is Mary how you met the next person?
Mary, well, Guy at Motown introduced me to Mary Wilson.
Okay.
His name was Hal Davis. And then I met Barry White. I met Barry White. Then I met Mary. Then I met I don't know. I think Barry White was first. I was
Okay.
about. hmm Yeah.
You were how
I was.
old?
I I was 28 then when I met Barry White.
Okay.
When I recorded the album, I was in my 20s still.
Okay. So when did you meet? When did you meet? This is the part that I'm getting to, guys. When did you meet Ike and Tina?
Ooh.
Was that before Barry or after Barry?
It was before Barry.
Okay.
Oh, I forgot about. How did I forget about you?
How can you forget about Tina?
I forgot you. I was 19.
That's
18
what I
or
was trying to get
19.
at.
Oh my God. And somebody just gave me a beautiful picture of her and they put it in a frame. And it's today, just a few minutes ago. And
Oh.
I don't know how I could forget. I'm 77 years old now, and
I know. Okay, y'all, yes. She is 77 years old now. And so some of these things I'm asking because while I know a bit of the story, I've only learned some of the things in recent years because my mother, before she passed away, told me about some of these things. And specifically, the thing that I'm trying to find out about. So, Aunty Go Go, that's what I call her, Aunty Go Go. Aunty Go Go, mom told me that basically Tina would come knocking on the door and be like, knock, knock, knock. And mom would answer the door and she'd be like, Tina, here, and then you guys would rehearse at the house. Is that true? Is that what was happening? Do you remember?
I know when I went to meet them in San Francisco at the Fillmore Auditorium, I remember singing "Come See About Me." I had on my blue shiny outfit with black suede shoes, high heel shoes, and then they drove me to Santa Cruz. I don't even know how I got to where they were. My mom or dad must have dropped me off, but they drove me back to Santa Cruz where we were living, and I remember getting in the car and saying, "Bye, Mama." You know, I don't know where she got the thing about rehearsing, and I don't know where she got that from. But Tina might have knocked on the door and said that we're going to take Gloria to Los Angeles. I don't remember all that. It's kind of vague.
Right. Okay. So,
But
so you found your way into being an ICAT.
at first, it wasn't really even. I was an ICAT. I was kind of just hanging out with them and going to different gigs with them every time. And then I said, I want to go home. And so they let me go home. And then they had a different set of ICATs on the Dick Clark show. And I was one of the ICATs. And we were making more money than the original ICATs.
Oh, wow.
And I remember Tina came to one of the shows we were doing, and she said I was the best ICAT in that group, and she picked me. And but then I still, that it's going to be on different ICAT tours. I mean, Dick Clark tours, and there was about 4 sets of ICATs out there.
Oh,
And then they quit because we were making more money than them. And I came and asked me if I wanted to be an ICAT, and I said yes. And that was that. And it was really a journey. It was Tina getting beat up sometimes, and we getting different dressing rooms. We would be with them, and some dressing rooms we wouldn't. And that's when he would beat up Tina.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't understand why he would do that to her, but he did. And I remember we were going to Houston, Texas, and we must have had a gig the night before. ICATs missed the bus. Was driving them to Texas, and so I remember ICAT said he was going to find us if we find us we weren't even making $25 a night. He was going to find us, and then make us pay our flight to Houston, Texas, because we missed the bus. And I told Tina, well, if he finds me, I'm going to quit. And Tina told him right in front of me, Gloria said she's going to quit if you find her. And he said, let the bitch quit. And
wow.
Yeah. And I went ahead and quit, and either ICATs, one of the ICATs had Arnold. She stayed with the group, and when they went to Europe, she stayed over there. She never came back.
Oh, wow.
She's still over there. She's doing quite well.
That's awesome. Well, speaking of Europe, the interesting thing is that that journey happened with the ICATs, and it's so crazy to hear the stories. I don't think a whole lot of people realize that there were many sets of ICATs
at that time. Yeah.
Yeah, at that time. And but you've had such an incredible journey. You mentioned before, that you worked with Barry White, and that he recorded an album for you and the Fly Stone, and the cool thing is that um, there's been music that people have probably heard, not realizing um, that it's you, but you have a following, like you have a heavy following in Europe, and you've been going out there for years. And I remember, among the other things, if you guys have ever heard me talk about, my influences, my musical influences, and I told you, you might have heard me say, one of my aunts had a closet that I was inspired by, and I dreamed one day to have a closet full of sparkly clothes just like she did. This is the aunt that I'm talking about.
I
When
remember
I'm,
that day, like,
you
I
remember?
remember that day, like, yeah, I watched you and Levita, who was another singer in the family, and you guys put on my clothes, and I was jealous because you guys look better than I did. And it
I,
could have been more, no, any more than, I don't even think you were 15 yet.
no, I was only, I think, so the last time I visited your house, I was only, well, the last time I visited California I was 12 years old. Well, when I was in your house, I was 8, and I remember, I don't know if you remember this day that Levita and I had gotten into your closet, and you were at home, Mom was home. I don't know if Auntie Debbie was there too, um, but we found what we thought were sparkly skirts. That's what we
Hmm.
thought. And you
Yeah.
guys laughed at us because you were like, no, those are not skirts. Those are tube tops, which we had no clue.
Those were what?
They were
They were
tube
what?
tops. They were tube tops. We just knew we were
They
somehow
must
eating
have
sparkly skirts.
they must have been very, very big on you, but they still look cute.
Yeah, yeah, we were super cute. We were super cute.
I'm
But
tired of taking pictures of that day.
I know, I do too. I have them in my memory. I have them in my memory. But so you have had the opportunity to tour around Europe and around other places in the United States, and when I'm reading up about you, because there are things about you online, and I have found, that you, like I said, you had that following still in Europe, and you have been influential for a lot of musicians, especially in the soul music genre.
Mm.
That's what you're known for. How do you feel about that now, knowing that you are so inspiring to so many soul musicians?
It feels very, very endearing. I can't I can't imagine not doing those shows. They were so dear to me and so great, even though sometimes they seem like tragic, but uh, but they're just really good memories. And to for other people to share those memories with me is something else. It's more than I can dream of. And uh, some of them I'm just learning about now, just as you're speaking to me. I didn't know. I didn't know I was so influential in the lives of upcoming females in the business, and I
Yeah,
hope I continue to be an influence on them, a great one. And I intend to come out of this mishap that I went through and do it all over again.
yeah. Well,
Yes.
I wanted to ask you about that next because I think it's really important for people to know while we're having this call, like what's been going on. So recently, and I believe it was literally the same week that Tina passed away, um, you were going through the airport on your way to Europe for your next tour, and you ended up having something um, perceivably tragic happen on that day.
Yeah,
Can you tell
I,
me what it was?
I was at the airport, and as I was crossing the street to get to my terminal, my right side was going out, and I was having a stroke, and uh, I'm still um, having symptoms from that, but I'm recovering. I walked recently, and I still am walking, but it's very, very slowly. And but I feel like I am progressing. And
You are progressing because when I spoke with you the day that that happened, um, it was hard to understand your speech, and now you are perfectly clear.
oh,
So
thank
you are you are definitely progressing. And I asked you, you know, what you are going to do next, and this is what I feel is so inspiring about you. Besides the fact that you have been such an inspiration to me all of my life, um, for you at 77 years old, you've had this crazy thing happen. Um, for many other people, that would have been a moment to say, we're calling it quits. I'm done, y'all. I'm going to just live out the rest of my days. But you said no. You are already booking gigs.
They booked me for Germany in May already. He said, whatever you need from the doctor, whatever he says you need, that's what we're going to do to get you here. And even if I don't sing, I'll be there.
I love
But
it.
I know I'm singing now, and I'm walking now. I'm in the wheelchair. I plan to be out of the wheelchair, and it doesn't matter. You have to take what life gives you with a grain of salt and just do it until you can't do it anymore. I feel like I'm still having some good memories of yesterday, and I'm making new memories right now. This is one of them.
Yeah.
Talking to you.
Yes. I mean, we've had conversations a lot of times over the years about the music industry. And the biggest thing that I think that you and I talk about is perseverance. Um, how how do you find that resilience in yourself to push through? Like, what is that? How do you do that?
I think it's just never giving up. You never give up on yourself. Um, One of my nephews uh, said, he saw my picture. I saw my picture up above, different um, album covers, and at the bottom it said, "It's time to give it up now." But I don't believe that. I'm not giving up. I'm just going to keep going until I can't go anymore. And I think that's it's it's not what I believe, but it's just what I do. And if I have to quit, I quit, and if I don't, I don't. Either way, I'm I'm still in this life, and I'm ready for the next level, which after I pass on, and whatever it is, that's what it shall be. And I think it's not the end. Not
Yeah,
the end. It's just another level
yeah,
of living.
I love that. So, wrapping it up for today. I mean, there's so much that you and I could continue to talk about. Um,
And you're my knees, and you're just doing it, and you're doing it, and I'm so happy that you are. You're interviewing me, and you're such a good singer yourself. I came to see you, and I was just so proud of you, and I still am. I still am.
Thank you, thank you. I want to ask you this one final question, and this is for those entertainers and any people who are listening that have a dream to do something, especially if it's something that's been in their heart to do and it might be older now, thinking that, well, because I'm XYZ age, I'm too old to make this happen. What would you say to those people specifically that might have that um, roadblock kicking at them?
I can't tell anybody what to do, but I admire people who still go on and live their lives no matter what life brings. I can remember being on the stage when I was with Johnny Otis, is another person I worked with, and Big Joe Turner was on the show. I remember when he walked on stage. I remember when he uh, got on stage in a wheelchair. I remember those, and I couldn't imagine myself doing that, but so be it. Because I'm never gonna give up. I'm never giving up.
Yeah. I think that I'm going to put words in your mouth, and your message to the people of encouragement would be to never give up.
Never give up.
That's what I've learned from you over the years, is to never give up, no matter how uh, hard it may seem, no matter the age that we are. There is somebody out there that wants and needs what it is that you have to give. And if for no reason other than that, to ensure that you give the thing that the people want from you, because it may seem small what it is that you're doing, but it's huge to someone else that hears or sees what it is
Yeah.
that you're doing. And like you said earlier, you're finding that out now, that the life that you've lived, the things that you've done have touched so many people, and that would not have ever happened if you gave up.
That's right. That's right. Even when I was in high school, I never thought about giving up, and I don't plan on doing it now.
It's not a word in your vocabulary. It's not a paradigm that you subscribe to.
Thank you very much for sharing words.
Oh, Aunty Go
Love
Go,
you.
I want to talk with you about all the things, but I am going to end this part of our conversation, and say thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And I am so excited to watch and continue to watch what it is that you do next.
To be continued.
Continued. To be continued.
I hope that you enjoyed hearing that, as Andrea said, a piece of music history. And I hope that you are encouraged. And if you are thinking about something, if there's something that you've been wanting to do, something that you have had in your heart for a long time, and maybe you thought to yourself, well, I'm too old to make it happen, or XYZ reasons as to why you're not making it happen. I hope that hearing my Aunty Go Go story has inspired you, and that you will be one that continues on. I know that it inspires me as I continue to do the work that I do. And with that being said, when it comes to your virtual events, I said this started today because of an incident that happened yesterday. This was a very special episode. I don't normally go live at this time, but I was determined to make sure that the content that I promise is the content that I deliver. And if you have a virtual event that you're not quite sure how to keep things running and keep it trucking, even when things go awry, then you definitely need to give me a call. And I believe that every single event that you do can definitely go far beyond, even when tech issues happen. Thanks so much for joining me tonight. I will see you at our regular time, which happens to be the first and third Wednesdays of every month at 1 p.m. And if you want to see how I produce events live, I'm not talking about in this live stream. I'm talking about seeing me do it in action. I do my virtual event actually in Zoom, and you can register to be a part of that Zoom audience and see exactly how things go down when I'm producing a virtual event. I will see you next time.